Buses ran in packs, and passengers wondered, if all these buses are bunched up like this, why not put them in the middle of the street on a dedicated reservation? Or better yet, why not have a streetcar line? It was clear that something had to be done to relieve the congestion. The delay in putting streetcars back on Spadina was caused by disagreements as to how the character of the street would be changed. Merchants worried that the 2-year construction would affect their business. The arts community worried that their existence would be jeopardized by higher rents that usually accompanied new transit lines. People worried that the low-level buildings would be raised to make way for mega-developments. Small vegetable and grocery merchants did not wish to see the end of angled parking, which would affect parking for their customers and deliveries to their stores. Some objected to not being able to make U-turns in the middle of the street, and even others lamented the end of the Spadina bus, of which a popular song was written about. In spite of all the delay and opposition, compromises were made, and the project was begun in 1992, making a reality of a 1975 dream by the Streetcars for Toronto Committee, who had waited 22 years for that dream to come true. Meanwhile, the operation of PCCs in Toronto was over. Residents' complaints about the noisy wheels, mechanical problems, and the determination of the TTC to standardize their fleet as a cost-saving measure meant that the cars had to be retired. After the cars were removed from Queen's Quay, they ran for a year on Dundas, Carlton, and King, and eventually they were sold to various trolley museums around North America. Only 4500 and 4549 were retained for charter service. The Harbourfront 604's name was changed to 510 Spadina, and CLRV operation began on the route. The CLRVs ran on the line for a time with blank destination curtains in their sign boxes, while new 510 Spadina ones were being made. Construction was done in several phases. The first section to be built was track work north of College around Spadina Crescent. New track laying methods were employed to deaden the noise made by the cars. The most important part of the project was construction of the streetcar subway connecting the Bloor-Danforth subway at Bloor to the streetcars. This project was the most costly job on the line. A surface loop at Bloor would not enable the streetcars to maintain schedules, so this loop was a necessity. In a matter of weeks, track was laid to the portal. By the winter of 1994, construction of track around Spadina Crescent and north of College was completed. Work on the streetcar subway station resulted in diversions at Bloor and Spadina. The Spadina buses had to exit the subway station on Madison Avenue. The Grand Union at Queen Street was installed over a long weekend at the end of July 1995. .510 Spadina CRVs had to be stored on the Spadina Bridge while the Grand Union at King Street was being installed. The King CLRVs were diverted via Queen, and shuttle buses filled the gap. With the track work complete, King service resumed. In July 1996, the College and Spadina intersection was installed. Track along Spadina was also installed at this time. While all this track construction was going on, Spadina bus drivers were having a merry old time weaving in and out of side streets and taking their riders to their destination by way of the scenic route. Once again, work was done over a long weekend, and the 506 Carlton service returned the following day. All that was left here to do was to connect the track. By midsummer, the track had been laid and the concrete had been poured. Dundas and Spadina was the last intersection to have track work installed. On this particular weekend, the Spadina bus route was split in two, with the Bloor North half looping north of Dundas and the Queen's Quay half looping south of Dundas. Riders had to walk across Dundas to transfer buses. Again, it only took about 4 days to complete the track installation. Once all the track work was completed, all that remained was to rebuild the roadway on either side of the track reservation. By August 1996, work began on the safety islands, and one half of the roadway was rebuilt. By June of 1997, the street had been landscaped, and the overhead crew had begun installing the wires. This task posed a big problem for the TTC, since this was the first major intersection overhead installation in a number of years, and the crews had no experience in doing the work. Add to the fact that experienced overhead wire workers had long since been retired, and this procedure was in itself new. Thus, it was to be expected that the installation would take a great deal of time. It was also feared that the wire would not be strung for the opening day. But the overhead crew came through, and in the end, all the wire except the Dundas Street intersection was ready to be energized for the Grand Avenue opening. In a matter of days, the Spadina bus would be history, and as the press gathered to join the media run down the line, General Manager David Gunn summed it all up.
Yesterday was the most important day because we actually made the first trip yesterday to make sure we'd make it today. But no, it's important. This is an important day. But the really important day is of course, this weekend when we open.
Members of the Spadina community of neighborhoods stretching from the annex to the lakefront have played an influential role in the renewal of Spadina Avenue. Throughout the years of planning and construction, hundreds of people representing residences, businesses, institutions, people with disabilities, and the cycling community have contributed in numerous working groups and meetings. Today's Grand Avenue Renewed is a tribute to their efforts. The 3-kilometer semi-reserve line runs along a slightly raised track bed from College to Queen. Provisions are made for motorists to make turns and U-turns without hindering streetcars. In the opening months of operation, many accidents with streetcars occurred because of careless motorists. The Spadina Public Art Program is intended to express the character of Spadina Avenue by celebrating its rich history and cultural heritage. The art program sites also identify the various neighborhoods existing today. The roadway has been completely rebuilt with new parking bays and decorative paving bands in the widened sidewalks. The reoccurring wave motif in the street design honors Spadina's history as the link between the waters of Lake Ontario and the shoreline of prehistoric Lake Iroquois at Casa Loma, as well as the avenue's more recent history as the first home to wave after wave of immigrants. To assure that hundreds of trees planted will grow and flourish, an underground drainage and watering system was constructed, a first for Toronto.
you.
Hey, Eric. Morning. Back there. You sit down over there. Morning, Jeremy.
That just been a long time since a lot of you people back there got up this early.
Not me, correct?
Change for the Harvard card. This is going to be resumed later on. Well.
The rail's gonna be lots of fun too.
Looks like they already had a party here.
Scott, come on back here. Yeah. Hey, that's my excuse to go. Thank you.
Morning. Good morning. Free coffee?
For me.
Glad you made it.
We are now entering the Spadina station for the first time.
No rubber tires.
No rubber-tired vehicles allowed.
We won't do that today. But I did have it done to me once.
Come on on, honey.
After this video was shot, there were so many accidents, subway horns were installed on the CLRVs and ALRVs to warn motorists of the streetcars approaching an intersection where a car might turn. Running times were increased to handle the large crowds, and the number of cars assigned to the line was also increased to 23 in rush hours. Ridership was so great on the line, the residents of Harbourfront complained that their service was suffering because of the number of cars not making it to Union Station because they were being short-turned at Spadina Loop. On this occasion, and only on this occasion, the car beat the streetcar down to the bottom. Don't try this at home.